What can I do for you?
What do you know about the Elder Scrolls?
Not as much as I would like. Even after spending decades of my life in study of the Elder Scrolls, they remain a great mystery to me. It's true for most of my brothers in the Order as well. We don't really know where the scrolls came from or who wrote them. What we do know is that some are born with the special gift to read the Elder Scrolls. These chosen few can divine events of the past and future within the scrolls, though in time it drives us to blindness. I'm afraid there's not much more to tell. Even today, the Elder Scrolls remain a great enigma. Very well, then.
I'm impressed you could find a moth priest so quickly.
Does he have the scroll? Is everything ready?
For the reading? Yeah. Just let the old man know when you're ready.
Ah, hello there.
Glad you made it here safely, Dexian.
Ah, my rescuer. It's good to see you again.
Have my companions made you feel welcome?
It's not exactly the hospitality I'm used to, but your man Isran has seen to my needs well enough. And might I add, this is a remarkable fortress. I have colleagues back home that would love to study this place in detail.
Are you prepared to read the Elder Scroll?
Oh, most certainly. Let's find out what secrets the scroll can tell. Now, if everyone will please be quiet, I must concentrate. I see a vision before me, an image of a great bow. I know this weapon. It is Oriel's bow. Now a voice whispers, saying, "Among the night's children, a dread lord will rise. In an age of strife, when dragons return to the realm of men, darkness will mingle with light, and the night and the day will be as one." The voice fades and the words begin to shimmer and distort. But wait, there is more here. The secret of the bow's power is written elsewhere. I think there is more to the prophecy, recorded in other scrolls. Yes, I see them now. One contains the ancient secrets of the dragons, and the other speaks of the potency of ancient blood. My vision darkens, and I see no more. To know the complete prophecy, we must have the other two scrolls. I must rest now. The reading has made me weary.
Come on. You should get some rest.
Do you have a moment? Gunmar and I have been talking and, well, we're slightly worried. We both realized that if Isran's even allowed us in here, he must be really concerned. And if he's that concerned, the situation must be pretty bad. Make sense?
You're worried about what we're up against?
Yes. These vampires are a new threat, and a truly deadly one. Gunmar and I agree that we're going to need Florentius to help. Gunmar and I have a lot of work to do here, so we were hoping that maybe you could track him down.
Who is Florentius?
He's a priest of Archay. Well, he was. It's complicated. He's a little eccentric, but we can trust him, and we could definitely use his skills.
Where can I find him?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know where he is. Haven't seen him in years. I think he had regular contact with the Vigilance, and I know Isran kept track of them. So maybe you could ask Isran if he knows anything? Just keep in mind that well, he might not like the idea. Well, this isn't exactly a palace, is it? Still, it's sturdy, secure, and seems defensible. I suppose I'd rather be here than most other places in Skyrim. If Isran needs me, it must be pretty bad. I wonder what we're up against here.
Do you know anything about the old Dawnguard?
I've only heard stories. Not sure if any of them are true. Like that they were supposed to guard some vampire here, but wound up all becoming vampires themselves when they saw how powerful he was. And then preyed on the rift until finally someone put them down. I guess it doesn't matter now. At least Isran is trying to do something noble with the name.
Why wouldn't Isran like me asking about Florentius?
The two of them just never got along. That's why Isran didn't have you go looking for him when he sent you after us.
Can you teach me how to make a crossbow?
A basic one, of course. That is, assuming you know anything about steelsmithing. It's pretty simple. Talk to Gunmar if you need materials.
What can I do to help?
I want to add some punch to our crossbow capabilities. I've done all I can on my own. I need a little inspiration. I've always been fascinated with Dwemer artifacts. I take them apart, poke around in their guts, and try to figure things out, with mixed results. But as luck would have it, I've tracked down the location of some actual Dwemer diagram drawings. So if you'd be a dear and collect those plans for me? All right, then. Hope you're getting along with Isran. It takes some getting used to.
Elder Scrolls, powerful artifacts. Can only imagine the protections on them. The mages at the college might know more, though.
I like what Isran has done with this place. It's good to see someone else who's really prepared.
I knew it would come to this one day. I knew. And no one believed.
I need to find someone named Florentius.
Who said something? Serene or Gunmar? I thought they'd have learned their lesson by now. I don't trust that man. And I don't want him here.
Serene thought we'd need his help.
I suppose she's right. I shouldn't let my personal feelings get in the way. Last I heard of him, he was aiding the vigilance of Stendarr at Runvald. He may still be there. If he can maintain some appearance of normalcy, I'll allow him to stay.
You heard the scroll reading? Now do you believe Serana?
I heard a lot of vague nonsense. You could interpret that 100 different ways. Only thing that stood out for me was Ariel's bow. That's a powerful weapon, and I sure as oblivion don't want the vampires to get hold of it. The Moth Priest can stay here for now. As for the vampire, I still don't trust it, so keep it on a leash. Watch your back.
You must be Fije.
Correct.
I'd like to help find your missing remnant, Rakid. What comes next?
It's all in this note. Now, this conversation never happened. Understood?
I hope Rakid is worth all of this trouble.
Good luck out there.
PJ's instructions. We have agents that have lived in Skyrim for over 20 years, ever since the Aldmeri Dominion withdrew from Hammerfell. If the Thalmor ever plot to betray the terms of the Second Treaty, we will know, and we will be ready. Gather intelligence from 2 remnants regarding the whereabouts of Rakid. One should be found behind the miners' barracks in Karthweston. The other should be waiting for you in front of the Villamere Inn in Iverstead. They will respond to the phrase, "The ravens take flight once more." Report back to me when the job is done. We've no time to waste. Teacher.
I hope Nelith can fix this mess. Can't trust this guy anymore.
Good day, friend. Keeping well?
Not bad, not bad. I feel like I could spend ages in here. Or, I have an even better idea. Cast a pocket reality spell and take all these books with me. Time flows differently in Oblivion, so that would mean I could read all these books without a care in the world. Though, that would require me knowing that spell, which I don't. I just know someone mentioned it to my mom once.
What's on your mind?
That moth priest, Dexian, he said we needed 2 other Elder Scrolls. I think I know where we can start looking.
Why didn't you say something earlier?
Half of the people in your little crew would just as soon kill me as talk to me. That exactly doesn't make me want to open up. I got a warmer welcome from my father, and that's saying something.
What is it between you two?
Ever since he decided to make that prophecy his calling, we kind of drifted apart. I don't even think he sees me as his daughter anymore. I'm just a means to an end.
So where is this Elder Scroll?
We need to find my mother, Valerica. She'll definitely know where it is, and if we're lucky, she actually has it herself.
You said you didn't know where she went.
The last time I saw her, she said that she'd go somewhere safe. Somewhere that my father would never search. Other than that, she wouldn't tell me anything. But the way she said it, someplace he would never search. It was very cryptic, yet she called attention to it.
Sounds like she was being cautious.
Maybe. What I can't figure out is why she said it that way. Besides, I can't imagine a single place my father would avoid looking. And he's had all this time, too. Any ideas?
In Castle Volkihar?
Wait, that almost makes sense. There's a courtyard in the castle. I used to help her tend a garden there. All of our ingredients for our potions came from there. She used to say that my father couldn't stand the place. Too peaceful.
Isn't that pretty risky, staying around the castle?
Oh, absolutely. But my mother's not a coward. That is, I don't think we'll actually trip over her there. But it's worth a look.
They aren't going to let us use the front door.
True. But I know a way we can get into the courtyard without arousing suspicion. There's an unused inlet on the northern side of the island that was used by the previous owners to bring supplies to the castle. An old escape tunnel from the castle exists there. I think that's our way in.
Let's go to the castle's secret entrance.
It's around the side of the castle. Let's move. Yes? What did you need?
So it looks like we have to find a man named Florentius in Runevald.
Great. Another dungeon crawl. This is just lovely. Why is this Florentius person even necessary to help? Because we'd be going through all this trouble to rescue him. And please do keep in mind that I'm still not too comfortable with slaying my own kind.
Serene, Gunmar, and Isran seem to think he's important.
I can get where you're coming from with Serene and Gunmar, but Isran, not really. Don't you remember that you had to convince him in the first place?
We need Florentius, okay? I wouldn't have listened to those two if I didn't believe it.
If I were a betting woman, I'd say there's no convincing you, at the very least. Well, for what it's worth, I'll come with you. Anywhere's better than hanging around here in the fort.
Actually, I've forgotten what I was looking for.
You ever think about what's next? I've always fancied visiting the Somerset Isles.
Books that you can recall?
Were you and Valerica close?
Did she perhaps mention
Before my father became obsessed with the prophecy, Mother and I spent quite a bit of time together. She was very fond of her alchemical garden in the castle courtyard. She taught me quite a bit about cultivating quality regions.
I don't need anything.
So you always got along?
Like the best of friends. I would never hesitate to share anything with her.
But then it all changed.
It was very sudden. It was almost like one day we were a normal family, and then the next, I didn't know who they were. I tried to visit my mother in the garden, and she'd quickly shoo me away, saying she was much too busy.
That's why we're headed there?
She had to be up to something in that garden. I'm hoping it's a clue that will tell us where she went.
Tell me about your family.
There's not a whole lot to tell. You've already seen my father's obsession. My mother's not a whole lot better, but you'll see that soon enough.
Were you close with them?
My father? No, not really. I did spend a lot of time with my mother, but she saw me more like a protege than a daughter. What about you? What were your parents like?
We didn't really get along. Best that I haven't seen them in a while.
That's too bad. Do you know how they're doing now?
Nobody hears from them much anymore.
Oh, I see. Let's just keep going.
A fair bit of time with Sergius lately, I see.
So, where are we off to now?
Why the audacity? How dare you imply such a thing?
Calm down.
What's on your mind?
It still feels kind of weird, waking up after thousands of years, even at this point. Just thinking about an empire in Cyrodiil, I definitely thought everything would end with the Remnants. Oh? What is it?
Were you always a vampire?
That's a long story.
I want to hear it.
I guess we kind of have to go way back, to the very beginning. Do you know where vampirism came from?
I would guess it came from a Daedric lord.
Exactly. The first vampire came from Molag Bal. She was not a willing subject, but she was still the first. Molag Bal is a powerful Daedric lord, and his will is made reality. For those willing to subjugate themselves, he will still bestow the gift, but they must be powerful in their own right before earning his trust.
How did you actually become a vampire then?
The ceremony was degrading. Let's not revisit that. But we all took part in it. Not really wholesome family activity, but I guess it's something you do when you give yourselves to a Daedric lord.
I was wondering,
how has it affected your family?
Well, you've met most of us. My father's not exactly the most stable, and eventually he drove my mother crazy with him. And it all ended with me being locked underground for who knows how long. It's definitely been a bad thing, on the whole.
Are you all right?
I will be. Just give me a little time. Yes? What did you need? Hold on. Did you hear something?
That's the end of it.
Yes? What did you need? Yes? What did you need?
Nora's journal. My old master was a collector of things, skeletons, staves, and priceless artifacts, the most prized of which was the helm and staff of Mannimarco himself, the king of worms. The old master was also a collector of apprentices, which in our trade are even more dangerous than the artifacts. He was aware of my ambition and where it would end. He knew I would steal his artifacts and kill anyone who stood in my way, himself included. So, like any good necromancer would do, he made sure his trap would ensnare me even beyond the grave. The doors are blocked by some kind of invisible ward, but there must be a way to remove it. The master was nothing, if not circumspect, and he would have left himself an out were he to fall victim to his own trap. In fact, I think he aimed to make a game of it. His final words to me were, "Start with the map." So I've tried to make sense of the clue, and I have made some progress. The flags seem to represent the torches. I just have to remove the right ones. Arch-necromancer's first clue. A mage travels Skyrim, snuffing out the souls of people along the way. In each place they collect a torch to represent the light of the dead. Their journey starts by traveling west to Morthal. From there they cross the plains south to Falkreath and make use of the alchemist's table. Next they travel northeast past the river and stop at the Nightgate Inn, where they cook themselves a meal before snuffing the light there. Finally they head north to Fort Dunstad, where their journey ends. Only when they'd gathered the light of 4 souls did they receive the blessing from the King of Worms, trace their path, and let the way forward fall.
I was just realizing, been a bit since I kissed you. Thought maybe your lips were lonely for mine.
You know, even an age-old vampire can appreciate a quiet place to unwind.
A man dreams his empty coffers are full of gems. A necromancer dreams a similar dream, but his coffers are a different kind and hold different gems and treasures inside. To see this dream and retrieve these gems, you must first pray to a prince for a door.
Wow. Just sensing your magicka reserves.
You truly are incredible. Yes? What did you need? Hey, even I can get tired every now and then. Finally, a place to just relax.
In my dream, I am surrounded by my 4 apprentices, but they're no longer mortal. Their spirits, their souls taking the form of greater gems. To bring them to darkness, one must place them on the altar of the Revenant and turn greater to black. Only then will you be free. Notes on the Bone Forge. While most necromancers, myself included, prefer to use whole corpses and skeletons, sometimes such supplies are not readily available. The Bone Forge offers an alternative, an altar upon which you may place raw supplies and forge them whole again. The basic recipe to create a skeleton suitable for most menial tasks is as follows. 1 bowl of bone meal, 1 greater soul gem filled. Once you place the materials on the Bone Forge, simply lay your hands on it, and your skeleton will appear before you. The Bone Forge can only sustain a single creation at a time, but it will remain with you until destroyed. I found that adding frost salts will create a bone man, a type of undead not normally found outside of the soul cairn. They are sturdier than the average skeleton, and make for a good companion to assist in the gathering of, well, supplies.
You alright there, lass?
About surviving out here.
Yes, my love.
Who's there?
I'm exhausted.
Maybe we should rest for the night.
Could you set up a campsite?
I'll pitch a tent for you anytime, sweetheart. Aye, all right.
Does it bother you to be here?
I figured it would be more of an issue for you.
I'm not afraid of you or your curse, if that's what you mean.
I'll remember it the next time I'm feeling hungry.
Try it, and I'll rip the fangs out your head.
You're all talk.
The alchemical recipes of Oran Frenis. The most common potion, Restore Health, can be made from ingredients native to Vardenfell. Any combination of marshmallow, wickweed, and resin will work. Properly prepared, there are no ill effects. Another common potion is that of Restore Fatigue. This can be made from scrib jelly and scuttle. Using hound meat instead of jelly may make a stronger potion, but the hound meat often spoils and makes the potion ineffective, but undrinkable. But the hound meat often spoils and makes the potion effective, but undrinkable. Customers often prefer potions that taste better to ones that are only slightly more effective. Potion to cure common diseases is another frequent request. These are quite simple to make here in Vardenfell and often cheaper, as grave dust is far more plentiful and better preserved by these fastidious Dunmer. Mix equal parts grave dust and green lichen. Heat over a low flame until the mixture turns brown. Note, dangerous skin is just as effective but very expensive. Chokeweed can be used in an emergency. Research notes on curing blight diseases. So far the only mixture I've found to be even partially effective is scrib jelly and ash salts. These ingredients are not too hard to find, but the ratio needs some adjustments, and the potion is not fully effective. A simple potion to breathe water can be made from luminous rusula, a shelf fungus found in the bitter coast, and hackalow leaves. Crush the mushrooms and leaves into a paste and add water slowly until the mixture is just barely liquid enough to drink. Note, try to find something to mix with this and make it taste better. A simple levitate potion can be made from coda flowers in either cliff racer plumes or trauma roots. Note, do not mix plumes with trauma root. Crumpled note, 11 Suns Height 201. Lyria, my thoughts have been a mess since we left that damnable place. I'm not sure if I'll be able to put them together into something I'm willing to have you read, but I need to try, if only to purge them from my fucking mind. Given the things I've seen in my life, I thought I knew the dark and twisted paths a person could sink to in the pursuit of their beliefs or their obsession. Now, though, let's say Ingvald opened up an all-new perspective I hadn't expected, and one that will be haunting my nightmares for the foreseeable future. When I looked into each of those poor souls' empty eyes, I didn't see what they'd become. Instead, all I saw was you. They made it all too easy to picture what would happen if we failed. What would happen if I failed to stand between you and that sick fuck's desires to add you to his collection. And I could have so easily failed. And you would be... Fuck, I can't get it out of my mind. Feels like I can't breathe. I can't finish this. I need to do something violent. I'm gonna go chop some wood for the fire and imagine the logs are that bastard's face. Hooded skeleton. There's something wedged inside the hooded skeleton, but for whatever reason I can't seem to raise it. No spell seems to work. There must be a trick to it I can't figure out. The master must have hidden something important inside, but whatever it is will require raising it first to loosen its bones. "36 Lessons of Vivek, Sermon 6. You have discovered the sixth sermon of Vivek, which was hidden in the words that came next to the hortator. There is an aeon within itself that, when unraveled, becomes the first sentence of the world. Mephala and Azura are the twin gates of tradition, and Boethia is the secret flame. The sun shall be eaten by lions, which cannot be found yet in Veloth. 6 are the vests and garments worn by the suppositions of men. Proceed only with the simplest terms, for all others are enemies and will confuse you. 6 are the formulas to heaven by violence, one that you have learned by studying these words. The Father is a machine, and the mouth of a machine. His only mystery is an invitation to elaborate further. The Mother is active and clawed like a Nix hound, yet she is the holiest of those that reclaim their days. The Son is myself, Vec, and I am unto 3, 6, 9, and the rest that come after, glorious and sympathetic, without borders, utmost in the perfections of this world, and the others sworn in symbol, pale like gold. There is a fourth kind of philosophy that uses nothing but disbelief. For by the sword I mean the sensible. For by the word I mean the dead. I am Vec, your protector, and the protector of Red Mountain until the end of days, which are numbered 3333. Below me is the savage which we needed to remove ourselves from the Altmer. Above me is a challenge which bathes itself in fire in the essence of a god. Through me you are desired, unlike the prophets that have been borne your name before. 6 are the walking ways from enigma to enemy to teacher. Boethia and Azura are the principles of the universal plot, which is begetting, which is creation, and Mephala makes of it an art form. For by the sword I mean the first night. For by the word I mean the dead. There will be a splendor in your name when it is said to be true. 6 are the guardians of Veloth, 3 before, and they are born again, and they will test you until they have the proper tendencies of the hero. There is a world that is sleeping, and you must guard against it. For by the sword I mean the dual nature. For by the word I mean animal life. For by the sword I mean preceded by a sigh. For by the word I mean preceded by the wolf. The ending of the words is Sivi. 36 Lessons of Vivek, Sermon 14. Vivek lay with Molag Bal for 80 days and ate, though headless. In that time the prince placed the warrior poet's feet back and filled them with the blood of the Daedra. In this way Vivek's giant form remained forever harmless to good earth. The pomegranate banquet brought many spirits back from the dead, so that the sons and daughters of the Union had much to eat besides fruit. The Duke of Scamps came while the banquet was still under way, and Molag Bal looked on the 7 penance with anger. King of Rape had been necessary, and therefore troubled for the rest of time. His legions and Kaurtas fell into open war, but the children of Molag Bal and Vivek were too elaborate in power and form. The Duke of Scamps therefore became a lesser thing, as did all his own children. Molag Bal said to them, "You are the sons of liars, dogs, and wolf-headed women." They have been useless to summon ever since. The Holy One returned at last. Vec, golden with wisdom, his head found its body, had been tenderly used. He mentioned this to Molag Bal, who told him that he should thank the barons of Move like this, for I have yet to learn how to refine my rapture. My love is accidentally shaped like a spear. So Vivek, who had a grain of Ayam's mercy, set about to teach Molag Bal in the ways of belly magic. They took their spears out and compared them. Vivek bit new words onto the King of Rape so that it might give more than ruin to the uninitiated. This has since become a forbidden ritual, though people still practice it in secret. Here's why. The Velothi and demons and monsters that were watching all took out their own spears. There was much biting, and the earth became wet, and this was the last laugh of Molag Bal. Watch as the earth shall crack, heavy with so much power that should have been forever unalike. Then that stretch of badlands that had been between the site of marriage fragmented and through fire. And a race that is no more, that was terrible at the time to behold, came forth, born of the biters. That is all they did, and they ran amuck across the lands of Veloth and even to the shores of Red Mountain. But Vivek made of his spear a more terrible thing. From a secret he had bitten off from the King of Rape, and so he sent Molag Bal tumbling into the crack of the bitters, and swore forever that he would not deem the king beautiful ever again. Vivek wept as he slew all those around him with his terrible new spear. He named it Muatra, which is milk taker, and even the chimera mystics knew his fury. Anyone struck by Vivek at this time turned barren and withered into bone shapes. The path of bones became a sentence for the stars to read, and the heavens have never known children since. Vivek hunted down the biters one by one, and all their progeny, and he killed them all by means of the 9 apertures, and the wise still hide them from Muatra. The ending of the words is Amsivi.
The Madmen of the Reach by Arianus Arius, Imperial Scholar, a defense of the Forsworn. Since the legendary victory of Tiber Septim over the barbarian natives in the Battle of Old Hroldan, Imperial and Nord scholarship has cast the people of the Reach as little more than savages, prone to irrational fits of violence, worshipping old, heretical gods, and fetishizing beasts and nature spirits that any civilized person would best well avoid. In truth, these accounts are little more than victor's essays, a perspective narrowed by the Empire's constant strife with the ancient, proud people that lived in this land far before Tiber Septim walked the soil of Tamriel. In light of this, I hope to create a more complete, accurate, and fair assessment of a group that has long suffered under the role of enemy, troublemakers, and them. Let us begin with the Forsworn, the so-called Madmen of the Reach. The Imperial Legion classifies them as little more than brigands, noting their constant raids and ambushes within the hold. But none of their military reports ask the question of why. If they were merely a group of bandits, surely they would be focused on acquiring gold and minimizing deaths among their own. But the opposite is true in Forsworn attacks. Large sums of coin are often left behind, and their fighters easily throw away their lives rather than risk capture by Imperial soldiers. It is this incongruity that led me to Markarth, the capital city of the Reach, in search of answers. There, I met one of the native peoples, an old woman who preferred not to be named in my writings. She told me of her family's long history, how she believes they originally came from High Rock, home of the Bretons, which would explain the similar faces and stature of the two peoples. How the Nords came and took their lands, their gods, and their culture from them. When asked about the Forsworn, the old woman would say that they were the real men and women of the Reach, those that refused to give in to the Nords, those that still practiced the ancient traditions that the rest of her people had abandoned in exchange for peace. In time, I was able to create trust with many more natives in my search that corroborated the old woman's story. By chance, one of them arranged a meeting between myself and what I thought was an elder member of his village. I was shocked to find that I was led to a camp, filled with animal skulls, severed heads, and still beating hearts that I had read about from the military reports back in the Imperial City. There, I met Cortoran, a Forsworn, who seemed amused at the prospect of me writing down his story, which I quote in full below. "You want to know who the Forsworn are? We are the people who must pillage our own land, burn our own ground. We are the scourge of the Nords, the axe that falls in the dark, the scream before the gods claim your soul. We are the true sons and daughters of the Reach. The spirits and ags have lived here from the beginning, and they are on our side. Go back and tell your empire that we will have our own kingdom again, and on that day, we will be the ones burying your dead in a land that is no longer yours."
The Adabale by Morahouse. The Memoirs of Morahouse, consort to Alicia and taker of the Citadel. Editor's note. The Adabale is traditionally believed to be the memoirs of Morahouse, consort to Alicia the Slave Queen. While this cannot be historically verified, the Adabale is certainly among the oldest written accounts to come down to us from the early First Era. Pelinal's death. And in the blood-floored throne room of White Gold, the severed head of Pelinal spoke to the winged bull Morahouse, demigod lover of Al-Esh, saying, "Our enemies have undone me, and spread my body into hiding. In mockery of divine purpose, the Eyelids have cut me into 8s, for they are obsessed with this number." And Morahouse, confused, snorted through his ring, saying,
"Your crusades went beyond her counsel, Whitestrake, but I am a bull, and therefore reckless in my wit. I think I would go and gore our prisoners if you had left any alive. You are blood made glorious, uncle, and will come again, as fox animal or light, but Sirad is still ours."
Then Pelinal spoke again for the last time. Beware, Mora House, beware. With the foresight of death, I know now that my foe yet lives. Bitter knowledge to take to my grave. Better that I had died believing myself the victor. Although cast beyond the door of night, he will return. Be vigilant. I can no longer shield the host of men from Umaril's retribution. Alicia's youth during the slave years. Perif's original tribe is unknown, but she grew up in Sard, anon Sard of Arlede, where the Ailedes herded in men from all across the Niben. Kothri, Nede, Algemha, men of Creth, though these were later known to be imported from the north. Keptu, men of Ge, who were eventually destroyed when the Flower King Nilichi made great sacrifice to an insect god. Al-Harad, men of Ket, and others. But this was Sirad, the heart of the Imperatum Saliace, where men knew no freedom, even to keep family, or choice of name except in secret, and so to their alien masters, all of these designations were irrelevant. Men were given over to the lifting of stones, and the draining of fields, and the upkeep of temple and road, or to become art tortures for strange pleasures, as in the wailing wheels of Vindasal, and the gut gardens of Sersen, and the flesh sculpture, which was everywhere among the slaves of the Ailedes in those days. Or, worse, the realm of the Fire King Handhul, where the begetting of drugs drawn from the admixture of Daedrons into living hosts let one inhale new visions of torment, and children were set aflame for nighttime tiger sport. Mora House explains Alicia's names. Then Mora House said to them,
In your tales you have many names for her. Al-Esh, given to her in awe, that when translated sounds like a redundancy. The High, from which come the more familiar corruptions. Alashut, Esha, Alicia. You knew her as Paravant, given to her when crowned, meaning first of its kind. But when the gods meant a mortal worthy of the majesty that is killing, questing, healing, which is also Paraval, Pevesh, Parathru, Perif, and in my case, for it is what I called her when we were lovers, Paravania. Though she is gone to me, she remains bathed in stars, first Empress, Lady of Heaven, Queen Utsirad.
And they considered themselves fully answered, and departed.
The Axeman, a surprising way to become proficient with an axe. Of all the members of the Morag Tong I've spoken with, none disturbed me as much as Minas Torek, a quiet and reserved man who never drank, never visited a brothel, or even uttered a curse. He was famous for his ability to make people disappear. Once a person was targeted by the Brotherhood and Torek was sent to them, they would simply cease to be. I asked him once what his weapon of choice was, and was equally startled by his answer. "I only likes to use axes," he said in his typical quiet voice. The image of this silent, dour fellow attacking anyone with a weapon as inherently bloody and violent as an axe so frightened and intrigued me that I questioned him further about it. This is an inherently dangerous activity, for assassins are not typically keen to give out their stories. Torek did not mind the questions, though it took some time to get the full story out of him, as naturally shy and reserved as he was. It seemed that Torek had been orphaned at a very young age and sent to live with his uncle, a salt rice plantation owner in Sheogorad in northern Vardenfell. The man promised to show his nephew the business, and eventually make him a partner when he was old enough. In the meantime, the boy was put to work as his uncle's house servant. It was a grueling life, as the old man was very particular about how things should be done. The boy was first required to give all the floors in the house a thorough scouring, from the attic to the cellar. Whenever the floor was not cleaned to his uncle's satisfaction, which was frequent, Torek was thrashed and forced to begin again. The boy's second duty was to ring the bell that would bring the laborers into the house. This was done at least 4 times a day, once for each meal, but if his uncle had any news or additional instructions for the laborers, which he frequently did, the bell might need to be sounded a dozen times or more. It was a huge iron bell in the tower, and the boy quickly discovered that he had to throw his entire body into the motion of pulling the chain, in order to have it sound loud enough to bring everyone in from the field. If he was tired and did not pull the back-breaking chain hard enough, his uncle was soon to his side to beat him until he rang the bell loud and clear. Torek's third task was dusting all the shelves in his uncle's vast library. As deep and old as the shelves were, he was required to work with a long, heavy duster on a rod. The only way that he could reach to the back of the shelves was to hold the duster at his shoulder and then swing it out in a sweeping motion. Again, if the uncle saw any dust left over, or felt that the boy was not working as hard as he ought to, the punishment was swift and severe. After several years, Minas Toric grew into a young man, but his job responsibilities were not increased. His uncle promised to teach him the business once Toric had demonstrated his mastery of the servile assignments. Divorced from any knowledge of any work other than his own, Toric never knew how badly in debt his uncle was, and how poorly the farm's yield was. In his 18th year, Toric was called into the cellar by his uncle. He thought that he had not done a good enough job scouring the floor down there, and was frightened of the beating to come. What he found, however, was his uncle packing his goods into crates. "I'm leaving Morrowind," he explained. "The business has gone sour, so I thought I'd try my luck running a caravan in Skyrim. I understand there's good money to be made, trading fake Dwemer artifacts to the Nords and Cyrodiils. I wish I could take you with me, my lad, but there won't be much needing for scouring, bell-pulling, and dusting where I'm going." "But, uncle," said Toric, "I can't read. I knows nothing of the business you promised to teach me. What was I do's on my own?" "I'm certain you can find a job in some domestic capacity," shrugged the uncle. "I've done my best with you." Toric had never stood up to his uncle before, and felt no anger, only a sort of coldness that gripped his heart. Among his uncle's possessions being packed away was an old heavy iron axe, allegedly of Dwemer manufacture. He picked it up in his hands and was surprised to find that it was not much heavier than his dusting rod. In fact, it felt very comfortable as he pulled it over his shoulder and swung it out as he had done so many times before. In this instance, however, he swung it into his uncle's right arm. The old man screamed with pain and rage, but for some reason, Toric didn't feel frightened anymore. He propped the axe against his other shoulder and swung it out again. It cut a swath across the old man's chest, and he fell to the floor. Toric hesitated before lifting the axe above his head. It was another natural position for him, like he was ringing a bell. Over and over again, he swung down as if he was calling the laborers in from the field, except that this time there was no sound except for a wet thump, and no laborers came in from the field. Of course, his uncle had sent them away hours before. After a time, there was nothing left of his uncle that couldn't be washed down the cellar drain. The process of cleaning up came easily to Toric as well. Blood scrubbed up much quicker than the usual grime and salt rice flour that littered the cellar floor. It was well known that Toric's uncle was planning to leave Morrowind, so his disappearance provoked no suspicion. The house and all the belongings were sold to the debt collectors, but Toric took the axe. It seemed that his uncle had given him some worthwhile business skills after all.
Yes? What did you need?
Gods, what did a scoundrel like me do to deserve someone as beautiful as you?
Can you pack up the campsite?
Sure thing.
Yes? What did you need?
You lost before you began.
I fought worse for you.
Retire someday, huh?
Lying little harlot. That brat ain't mine. Could be anyone's. Won't get one rusty septim from me. What's that? Is someone there?
All right, let's do this. Good night.
I guess I was just hearing things. I need me some skooma. Was not for show, and someone had to die.
You have done well, my champion.
But...
You have earned my respect, a feat few manage and live to tell about. I shall write your name upon the tablet of absolute darkness. You may keep my ebony mail, a token of my appreciation to my new champion. Its gifts will resonate with your talents. Now go. I have strings to pull that require my full attention. You may pursue your own course wherever it leads you. Remember always this. As you will it, so it shall be.
I just hope it was all worth it. Here we go.
Hey, so...
Weapons up. I sense it.
I still need some help, if you can spare the time.
Your spell finally wore off.
Exactly as I said it would. Now, are you ready to try again? I am confident it will work this time.
Okay, you can try again.
This will be worth it. Okay, now don't move at all. Oh my.
So,
That isn't
Arnie,
right.
how's
Just
the
wait. I can fix this.
progress worth mentioning?
Oh no, that's not it at all. Let me try again. This really isn't turning out the way I'd hoped. I'll get it right this time. I swear.
What did you say the point of this little venture was?
Oh, no, wouldn't do to say it all. Not now. Not at all.
There.
I have
All
far too
better.
many things to do still.
Well, it all worked out in the end, didn't it?
Let's never speak of this again.
Agreed. And thank you for your help. You're a good friend. All right then.
Do me a favour. Don't ever be Berlina's test subject again. Next time you might get stuck with a cow tail or chicken feathers.
Good to see Skyrim still has such fine people. You give an old man hope.
Here's your heart scale.
Wonderful, just wonderful. And it's just as I suspected. The energies need to be channeled back through the Nexus a second and third time. And that's it. I certainly think you deserve the first copy of the tome. Use it well.
I've taken care of the disturbance.
Very good. I'm sure the Jarl will be quite pleased. Pleased enough to justify the significant amount of gold offered to the college to rectify the problem. I think it only fitting that the Archmage personally receive a large portion of the reward. Well done. All right then.
Ah, you're back. So, how went your first real contract? A bit more exciting than what Nazir's been offering, I'd wager? Very well. I respect your discretion. Now, I need your assistance with a matter of a more, personal nature.
Is something wrong?
It's Cicero. Ever since he arrived, his behavior's been, well, erratic would be an understatement. I do believe he is truly mad, but it's worse than that. He's taken to locking himself in the Night Mother's chamber and talking to someone in hushed but frantic tones. Who is he speaking with? What are they planning? I fear treachery. You must understand. If Cicero is turning the others against me, against us, our family would not survive such division.
What do you want me to do?
Dear sister, I need you to steal into that chamber and eavesdrop on their meeting. It'll be no use clinging to the shadows. They'll see you for sure. No, you need a hiding place. Somewhere they'd never think to look. Like inside the Night Mother's coffin. No objections then? Good. Go now, before they meet, and report back to me with whatever you learn.
We can't have Cicero getting suspicious, but I'll wait nearby and keep an ear out.
in case something goes wrong. Just tell me when. I'll be right here. Be safe, love.
Why are you still standing there? Hurry, before the meeting begins.
It's been quite a
It's all thanks to a special technique I developed. I call it the razor-winged butterfly. I'd teach it to you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Are we alone? Yes. Yes! Alone! Sweet solitude! No one will hear us, disturb us. Everything is going according to plan. The others, I've spoken to them, and they're coming around, I know it. The wizard Festus Crex, perhaps even the Argonian, and the Unchild. What about you? Have you spoken to anyone? No? No, of course not. I do the talking, the stalking, the seeing, and the saying. And what do you do? Nothing! Not... I'm angry. Oh, never. Cicero understands. Cicero always understands. Obeys. You'll talk when you're ready, won't you? Won't you? Sweet night, Mother.
Poor Cicero. Dear Cicero. Such a humble servant. But he will never hear my voice, for he is not the listener.
Oh, how can I defend you? I exert your will if you will not speak to anyone.
Oh, but I will speak. I will speak to you, for you are the one. Yes, you. You who share my iron tomb, who warms my ancient bones. I give you this task. Journey to Volumud. Speak with Armand Mortier.
Poor Cicero has failed you. Poor Cicero is sorry, sweet mother. I tried so very hard, but I just can't find the listener.
Tell Cicero the time has come. Tell him the words he has been waiting for all these years. Darkness rises when silence dies.
What? What treachery! Defiler! Debaser and defiler! You have violated the sanctity of the Night Mother's coffin! Explain yourself! Speak, worm!
The Night Mother spoke to me. She said I am the one.
She spoke to you? More treachery, more trickery and deceit! You lie! The Night Mother speaks only to the listener! And there is no listener!
Wait, she said to tell you darkness rises when silence dies.
She said that. She said those words. To you. Darkness rises when silence dies. But those are the words, the binding words, written in the keeping tomes. The signal so I would know. Mother's only way of talking to sweet Cicero. Then it's true. She's back! Our Lady is back! She has chosen a listener! She has chosen you! All hail the listener!
By Sithis, this ends now! Back away, fool! Whatever you've been planning is over! Are you all right? I heard the commotion. Who was Cicero talking to? Where's the accomplice? Reveal yourself, traitor!
I spoke to the Night Mother, but she didn't speak to me! Oh, no! She spoke only to her! To the listener!
What? The listener? What are you going on about? What is this lunacy?
It's true! It's true! The Night Mother has spoken! The silence has been broken! The listener has been chosen!
When I heard Cicero screaming, I knew you'd been discovered. I feared the worst. Are you all right? You look like you've just seen a ghost. Please tell me you haven't. Cicero said he spoke to the Night Mother, but she spoke to you?
It's true, the Night Mother spoke to me. She said I was the one.
What? So Cicero wasn't talking to anyone else? Just the Night Mother's body? And the Night Mother who, according to everything we know, will only speak to the person chosen as listener, just spoke. Right now. To you?
Yes.
By Sithis. And? What did she say?
I must speak to someone named Amand Motier in Vollenrud.
Amand Motier? I have no idea who that is. But Vollenrud, that I have heard of. And I know where it is.
So I should go to Vollenrud. I should talk to this man.
No. No! Listen, I don't know what's going on here, but you take your orders from me. Are we clear on that? The Night Mother may have spoken to you, but I am still the leader of this family. I will not have my authority so easily dismissed. I need time to think about all this. Go see Nazir. Do some work for him. I'll find you when I'm ready to discuss the matter further.
You reek of death, my friend. I salute you.
Astrid wanted me to see you about some more work.
Well then, your timing couldn't be better. As it turns out, I've got 2 new contracts. One rather easy assignment, and another that should prove quite a challenge. Your first target is an orc bard named Lurbuk. The other is a vampire by the name of Hearn. Happy hunting.
I heard the commotion. You're alright, yeah? I thought I'd have to rip that jester to pieces.
I'm fine, I'm not hurt.
Thank the divines. I couldn't forgive myself if something happened to you. You look shaken. Something did happen. What was it you were saying before about the listener? You heard her? You actually heard her in your mind, speaking to you. What else did she say?
I must meet with someone named Amand Motieri at Vollenrud.
Vollenrud? I think I've heard of that one. It's in the Pale, but on the Whiterun side of the mountains. I couldn't tell you exactly where, though. We're seeking this Motier out then, eh?
I think we should. I can't ignore what the Night Mother told me.
Can't you, though? Did the voices say this was urgent?
Voice, singular.
Right. One voice. From the Bride of Death.
The Night Mother has been silent for decades until now. This seems important.
If we do, we keep it quiet from Astrid. People like her do not go easy on insubordination.
All right, sweetheart. Reading.
What were you doing in there? Why did it take so long? Oh, wow. So you hid inside a tomb, and a corpse spoke to you, all while a madman goes in to revere it? Just lovely. But if what the Night Mother said about you is true, well, don't be surprised if you get a promotion by Astrid very soon. Now, what do we do next? Ah, I see. Hearn, another vampire. Let's hope I don't screw this up for us. Vampires tend to be able to sense each other nearby. And Lurbuk. Killing an orc bard just because he can't sing? That's rough.
Oh, I'm always pleasantly surprised.
Fool's Ebony, Part the Fiveth, by Friendships. Part the Fiveth, back with the priests, final plans, and a killing or two is reported. Nearing the middle of the month of Frostfall, the Inn of the Pink Nymph. Enter Prologue, the adventurer, Ortho, Nephron, and 5 armorers, and Prologue. Prologue, our roguish dark elf, the adventurer, is plummeted before our stunned eyes from the king of the spiderweb of intrigue to a pathetic, crawling lump of Argonian excrement. In the quest for Fool's Ebony, that substance that all would kill for, the adventurer attempted to play mage against priest with the help of the merchant Nephron. Alas, that is to say, alack-a-day. The 5 armorers have trapped Nephron and the adventurer and taken over their scheme. The hulking Ortho now watches the adventurer's every move. But I get the feeling, to be honest, don't you, that beneath the adventurer's defeated, quivering jelly lurks a jungle cat of such cunning and resource to shatter all his enemies when the time is right. Of course, I could be wrong. Ah, I see one of the priests of Akatosh who believes himself a friend of the adventurer. I, Prologue, must away. Exit Prologue. Enter Laban, a priest of Akatosh. Laban. Evening there. Mind if I join you? Adventurer. Well, since you already have. No. And where's our esteemed brother Colmon this chill evening? Laban. You mean you haven't heard? Oh, I guess you've been busy with the preparations? Adventurer. Right. Very busy. Laban. Then let me tell you. Oh, what a bad business. What trouble. Oh, dear. Well, you doubtless recall that poor Colmon had this, problem? Overwork, of course. Adventurer. Oh, yes, you fellows do work exceeding hard, seems to me. Laban. Well, recall how Colmon left, somewhat erratically as it were, and, made off with that young blondie under the lamppost inside? Well, in his, state of confusion, he grabbed the wrong blondie. Oh, my, indeed, the wrong one. Adventurer. They all look pretty much the same to me, but of course I do not look too hard. Laban. Oh, my. Well, to cut a short tale to the bone, old Colmon grabbed a Contessa who had thought to disguise herself. Oh, dear. Adventurer. Well, did she get away? Did they catch Colmon? What happened? Laban. Well, old Colmon, tipsy as he was quick as spit in a gale, eluded all pursuit, took the lady to a small private retreat house that we have? Oh, dear me. Well, the city guards, palace guards, half a dozen royals, all caught up with Coleman 3 days later. One day too late for the poor Contessa. I hear they had a hard time locating all the, bits and pieces. Coleman was there, passed out cold, and another body, some common blonde lamppost girl. And by now, he is cold. Permanently, most likely at the bottom of the bay. Adventurer. Oh well, serves the Contessa right coming down to this area, but I suppose that there are repercussions. Enter two more priests, Rake and Steet of Julianos, and 4 armed city guards. Rake. Evening, Laban. Evening, adventurer. And Ortho. Mia morto. Rake. Yes, charmed. And Laban, you indeed have my sympathies. If there's anything we can do to help our Temple of Julianos, that is. But really, you should have kept Coleman on a tight leash, or preferably a noose. Adventure. Hello, Rake, and hello to you, Steet. How's your sister? Steet. Oh, she's great. Rake sets Steet on fire, but it goes out. Laban. Yes, I know. Oh, the repercussions. Do you know that the priests of Akatosh, Daggerfall Castle, Wayrest Palace, and just about everywhere else have all been thrown out? That the royal tax exemption for the chantry has been revoked? That the Akatosh chantry has just received a past due taxes bill? Oh, my. Adventurer. Well, then I suppose that we could help somewhat. Maybe. Maybe a small loan from Julianos for that tax bill, with, say, a temple as security. Oh, are not the taxes based on the number of the priests of Akatosh? So maybe the school of Julianos could take over a significant number? Reduce your tax bill? You realize that this is not the best time for this, just as we need a lot of funds for that expedition that I'm arranging for you. Laban. Oh, I am so sorry about Coleman, but yes, maybe if good Brother Rake could, I hate to say this, take over a greater share of the financial burden in return, of course, for, considerations. Rake. Like a good number of permanently loaned priests. A long look at your books, at your cellar, your name lists, a temple as security on our loan, and of course a bigger cut in the proceeds of this expedition. Names of your, suppliers? Laban. Oh, I foresaw something like this. Talked a bit about it with old Mucky Muck. Livid, he was, but as I am a senior brother, he finally authorized me to take care of it. Those weren't his exact words, mind you, which were quite a bit longer, more explicit, with the gist, at least. Adventure. Of course, Laban. If, and note I say if. If we are successful, why then you can easily get back in the good graces of the palace. Merely sell them the goods as a good low rate. First refusal on any shipment you have. What's one contessa to them, anyway? Laban. Yes, that could work. Worth a try, but how? Royals will not talk to anyone from the Akatosh Chantry now. Adventurer. Leave that to me. I can make approaches to certain ones. Yes, I can probably persuade them to let up on the chantry in return for future favors. Laban. Oh, how can I thank you? Adventurer. Well, I need a fair amount of gold to finish setting up my little trip. Maybe 10,000? Special horses, reinforced carts, courtiers, guards, the list goes on. And the cost of keeping our little trip quiet is really quite high. Laban. Well, yes, we can afford it, I guess. You do have the map now, don't you? I guess we can afford 8,000 gold, given the potential profits. Adventurer. Rest easy. It's all here in my cloak. Show you in a bit. I've also managed to hire some good young hefty fellows like old Ortho here to manage the carts, dig and load, ask his guards, and so on. Laban. Good. I can relax a bit. Oh, my, the fellows back at the chantry will be so relieved. We really owe you. The Brotherhood does. Oh, I mean the Akatosh chantry, of course. State. Brotherhood? What about our sisterhood, eh? Rake grapples State, allowing Laban to hit State with a large mallet. Adventure. Well, Rake, what about you and the school? How much are you good for? The extra 2,000? And maybe some more? Always lots of last-minute expenses on a trip like this, you know. Rake. Well, now, since we seem to be getting the whole extra sect of priests and other considerations, certainly. Adventurer. Well, gentlemen. Oh, and state it. Here it is. The adventurer pulls out a map, gives it to Rake. Oh, by the arms of Xanathar, did I ever have to work hard for this? These cagey mages. But in the end, just greedy old fools. Oh, just in case you or your head priest haven't seen the goods, here's a sample. Play with it. The adventurer hands Rake a small leather bag. Rake, thank you. I must admit I had some doubts. You know, dealing with a stranger, so on. No more, partner. Adventurer, good. Static hiccups. Static, say, you fellas ever hear this one? What's a priest keep under his robe? Ha ha! His sister. Ha ha ha! The adventurer, Laban, and Rake beat State into unconsciousness. Rake, you know, I fear we really have to do something about young State here. His sister thing? Ugh. Adventurer, yes, he could be another Kulmon, just what we don't need. Laban, this sister of his, does she really exist? Rake, oh yes, oh yes, we know her well. I mean, we have often seen her. Laban, I think, brother, that she should be made to see the error of her ways, so she's no longer an influence on State. Rake, yes, most certainly. Laban, a somewhat dibelethetical theological point. Oh, please excuse the technical discussion here, Rake. If we are to make her see the errors, well, how should I put it? We first have to know just what the ways are, correct? Rake. Indeed, an astute observation. So you're suggesting that, in a nut, you should first determine her ways, so as to be able to make them show her the errors? Laban, precisely, mind you, a difficult, arduous, tiring process, I fear, one that will take all our will and energy. Rake, true, but challenging, huh? Take all our time? Then we shall have some time while friend the adventure here is off hauling and carting. Laban, and I personally would feel far safer if we were in retreat, maybe studying the ways. Adventure, yeah, be a good idea for you two to maybe disappear for a while, of course. Cut down on the chances of a rival faction catching you or catching on. Rake, very well. Laban, why don't you and I take his sister off with us on a theological retreat, as it were, study the ways in detail and so on. Laban, you'd go to that unused little temple up on the shoulder of the Edwards Mountain, out of the way, quiet. Rake, door has locks. Laban, thick walls. Rake, a big cellar. Laban, good, it's settled then. A theological retreat. Oh, goody. Rake, of course, once we know the ways in detail, we can tell old High Mucky Muck and let him take care of the showing of the errors. It would improve his mood quite a bit. Laban, then it's agreed. Let's start, say, day after tomorrow. Rake, yes, adventure. Why don't I meet you at, that horrid, ugly statue of what on Tamriel is it? Harpy and a gargoyle? Called something silly like Vendigio and her lover or some such? Up in the northwest corner of the town. Oh, and can I keep the map? Adventure, sure, keep it. I have a copy. And you will pass me a small bag there at that nasty statue? Rake, have it all ready for you, say 10 o'clock sharp? Oh, Laban, another thought about young State here. You really need some seasoning in the field, one might say. Laban, good point. I know. The priest who handles field assignments is coming by tomorrow. We could arrange an educational assignment for Steet. Rake, very good. But where? Winter's coming soon now. There's a vacancy up in Solitude, far north Skyrim, I believe. Night collections at street corners or some such. Very good. Come on, Laban, we have accounts to work on. Good night to you then, adventurer. 10 tomorrow morning. Laban, Rake, raise to leave, picking up Steet. Laban and Rake, together. I have to arrange some supplies. Leather, rope, holy wine. Lots of that pink powder. I prefer the green myself. Exeunt Laban, Rake, Dragging State, and City Guard. Nephron. Well. Adventure. Excellent. And just as I said it would, got 5,000 gold from them, and thanks to your work with the Countessa, we have the screws in the chantry, and the school of Giulianos is going to be otherwise engaged on a theological retreat. More like a sanguine retreat. Nephron, and those mages, Shub and Shub, seem to have disappeared. Adventurer. So are we set? Nephron. Yes, you can come by my warehouse tomorrow afternoon. Have the heavy carts waiting. Ortho. And Ortho. Nephron. Oh, yes. Must not forget your fellows. How kind of you to volunteer your services. Adventurer. Tomorrow, then. Exeunt omnes. Last person to leave looks just like a royal in disguise. Enter epilogue. Well, we only have one part left to this play, and I've run out of counting the numbers of loose strings. Either part the sixth is going to be 8 hours long, or we're going to leave some parts unsolved. I, for one, hope that they don't choose to drop the character of the wanton Contessa, for Geoffrey's sake. She's been on the dramatis personae since part the 1st. Ah, well, nobody leave your seat. Your gold will not be refunded. Any gold you could spare to tip your friendly wenches would be greatly appreciated. We just have a quick costume change and a set to put together, and we'll be back. In the meanwhile, enjoy our bard's rendition of the Nordic classic, Alas, the fleeting years glide by. So endeth part the 5th. "36 Lessons of Vivek, Sermon 33. When Vivek left the litany hall of the false thinking temple, where he had brooded for so long, created the scripture of the pounding light, he went back to the space that was not a space. From the provisional house he looked into the middle world to find the 7th monster, called Lie Rock. Lie Rock was born of Vivek's second aperture, and was thrown out of the pomegranate banquet by a member of the Sweeps, another forgotten guild. The Sweep did not take it for the monster that it was, and so he did not expect it to fly from his hand and into the heavens. I am bored of golden wisdom and powers that should have forever been unalike. With this nature I am invited into the hidden heaven, by which he meant the scaled blanket made of not stars, whose number is 13. Lyrock became full of foolishness, haggling with the void ghost who hides in the regions of all men. The void ghost said, "Stay with me a full 100 years, and I will give you a power that no divinity will dare disobey." But before the 100 years was up, Vivek was already looking for Lyrock, and found him. "Stupid stone," Vivek said. "To hide in the scaled blanket is to make a mark on nothing. His bargains are only for ruling kings." So Vivek sent the Hortator to the heavens to shave Lyrock asunder by the named axe. Nerevar made peace with the South Pole Star of thieving, and the North Pole Star of warriors, and the Third Pole Star, which existed only in the ether, which was governed by the apprentice of Magnus the Sun. They gave him leave to wander among their charges, and gave him red sight by which to find Lyrock in the hidden heavens. By chance Nerevar met the void ghost first, who told him he was in the wrong place, to which the Hortator said, "Me or you?" And the void ghost said, "Both." This sermon does not tell what else was said between these masters. Lyrock, however, used the confusion to launch his own attack on the city god Vivek. He was hastened by all 3 of the Black Guardians, who wanted him swiftly gone, though they meant no hostility to the Lord of the Middle Air. The citizenry of Vivek screamed as they saw a shooting star come down out of the sky hole like a toll road of hell. But Vivek merely raised his hand and froze Lyrock just above the city, and then he pierced the monster with Moatra. Practice of piercing the second aperture is now forbidden. When Nerevar returned, he saw the frozen comet above the Lord's city. He asked whether or not Vivek wanted it removed. "I would have done so myself if I wanted, silly Hortator. I shall keep it there, with its last intention intact, so that if the love of the people of the city for me ever disappears, so shall the power that holds back their destruction." Nerevar said, "Love is under your will only." Vivek smiled and told the Hortator that he had become a minister of truth. The ending of the words is Elm-CV. Fellowship of the Temple. Archcanon Tholer Sariani, Tribunal Temple. I've been asked to write this guidebook for outsiders who are unfamiliar with the Tribunal Temple and interested in joining. All those who are earnest and who are willing to submit to the wisdoms of Blessed Almsivi, Triune Grace, the saints and the priests are welcome to the Fellowship of the Tribunal Temple. The temple is the religion of Morrowind and Dunmer people and has been for generation upon generation. With guidance and counsel of Almalexia, Vivek, and Sotha Seal, the Anticipations, and all the hosts of saints and ancestors, the temple guards and protects the lands and peoples of Morrowind. Those who follow the tribunal must have the personality to lead others and the willpower to resist the world's temptations. When violence is needful, we fight with stabs and hammers, armored only in our faith. We study restoration and alchemy to heal the people, and mysticism to learn more of the divine. We must also study conjuration to speak with the spirits of our ancestors, protect against those who traffic with the Four Corners. Those interested in joining the tribunal should speak to priests at Temple of Aldrun, Balmora, Molagmar, and Ghostgate, or with the priests at the High Fane in the temple compound in Vivek. Articles of Faith. The temple believes that Almalexia, Vivek, and Sotha Sil were mortal guardians of Morrowind, who walked the earth, defeated the Dunmer's greatest enemies, the Nords and the Dwarves, and achieved divine substance through superhuman discipline and virtue, with superhuman wisdom and insight. Like loving ancestors, they guard and counsel their followers. Like stern parents, they punish sin and error. Like generous relatives, they share their bounty among the greatest and least, according to their needs. Duties of the Faithful. Your fourfold duties are to faith, family, masters, and all that is good. Perform holy quests and bring luster to the temple. Never transgress against your brothers or sisters, and never dishonor your house or your ancestors. Serve and protect the poor and weak, and honor your elders and clan. For those who would be wise, these sacred books will be of interest. Sarioni's sermons. Learn from the teachings of Vivek and from the Archcanon's sermons on the Seven Graces. Lives of the Saints. Members of the temple who wish to be virtuous will model their lives on the lives of the saints. The Pilgrim's Path. The path to wisdom and self-knowledge is through pilgrimage. Those who would rise in the ranks of the faithful may retrace the steps of the lords and saints and gain blessings and learn virtue by suffering and overcoming hardships. The Consolations of Prayer. Learn what bounties and blessing might be gained by prayer at the shrines found in temples and in places of pilgrimage and in the tombs of our ancestors.
As High Priest of the Akatosh Chantry, I have dedicated my life to the service of the Great Dragon. He who was first at the beginning, he who is greatest and most powerful of all the divines, he who is the very embodiment of infinity. I am quite obviously a man of deep and unwavering faith, but not blind faith, for I am also a man of scholarly endeavors, and have always valued education and the pursuit of truth in all its forms. And so I have had the honor and privilege of making it my life's work to discover the truth about Akatosh in all our beloved divines' incarnations. Throughout the civilized world, and I refer not only to the Empire, but to every nation of Great Nirn that has embraced the virtues of learning and letters, the Great Dragon is worshipped. Usually the highest of divines is referred to as Akatosh, but what some may not be aware of is that he occasionally is referred to by two other names as well. The Aldmer refer to Akatosh as Auriel. The Nords call him Alduin. These names come up repeatedly in certain texts, and in each one it is clear that the deity in question is none other than he whom we call Akatosh. Yet there are those who believe, even in this enlightened age, that this is not so, that the regional interpretations of Akatosh are not interpretations of Akatosh at all. Rather, they are references to altogether different deities, deities who may or may not share the same aspects or be the Great Dragon at all. Many Altmer of Somerset Isle worship Auriel, who is the soul of Anuiel, who in turn is the soul of Anu, the Everything. But if you ask the High Elves themselves, as I did when I travelled to Somerset Isle to continue my research, The majority will concede that Auriel is but Akatosh with a different name, colored by their own cultural beliefs. So maybe it comes as no surprise that the real theological dissension lies in Skyrim, among the Nord people, renowned as much for their stubbornness as they are their hardiness and prowess on the field of valor. When I journeyed to the stark white province, I was surprised to find a people whose views on Akatosh are almost diametrically opposed to those of the Altmer. The majority of Nord people seem to believe that their Alduin of legend is not Akatosh, but another deity entirely. A great dragon, yes, but not the great dragon. Determined to get to the heart of this matter, I consulted with several Nords, chief among them an old and respected clan chief by the name of Bjorn Much-Blooded. And what surprised me most about those I talked to was not that they believed in Alduin instead of Akatosh, but that they recognized Alduin in addition to Akatosh. In fact, most children of Skyrim seem to view Akatosh in much the same way I do. He is, in fact, the great dragon. The first among the divines, perseverance personified and, more than anything, a force of supreme good in the world. Alduin, they claim, is something altogether different. Whether or not he is actually a deity remains in question, but the Alduin of Nord folklore is in fact a dragon, but one so ancient and so powerful he was dubbed the World Eater, and some accounts even have him devouring the souls of the dead to maintain his own power. Other stories revolve around Alduin acting as some sort of dragon king, uniting the other dragons in a war against mankind, until he was eventually defeated at the hands of one or more brave heroes. It is hard to deny that such legends are compelling, but as both high priest and scholar, I am forced to ask that most important of questions. Where is the evidence? The Nords of Skyrim place a high value on their oral traditions, but such is the core of their unreliability. A rumor passed around the Wayrest Market Square can change so dramatically in the course of a few simple hours that by the end of the day one might believe half the city's residents were involved in any number of scandalous activities. How then is an educated, enlightened person possibly supposed to believe a legend that has been passed down by word of mouth only for hundreds or even thousands of years? The answer to such a question is simple. He cannot. And so it is my conclusion that the Alduin of Nord legend is in fact mighty Akatosh, whose story grew twisted and deformed through centuries of retelling and embellishment. Through no real fault of their own, the primitive peoples of Skyrim failed to understand the goodness and greatness of the great dragon, and it was this lack of understanding that formed the basis of what became, ironically, their most impressive creative achievement. Alduin, the World Eater, phantom of bedtime stories, and justification for ancient, if imagined, deeds.
The Anticipations, by Anonymous. Overview of the members of and the relationship between the Tribunal and the Daedra. The Daedra are powerful ancestor spirits, similar in form and substance to the Tribunal, blessed be their holy names, but weaker in power and more arbitrary and removed from the affairs of mortals. In old times, the Chimer worshipped the Daedra as gods, but they did not deserve this veneration, for the Daedra harmed their worshippers as often as helped them. The advent of the Tribunal, blessed be their holy names, changed this unhappy state. By the apotheosis, the Tribunal, blessed be their holy names, became the protectors and high ancestor spirits of the Dunmer, and bade the Daedra to give proper veneration and obedience. The three good Daedra, Boethia, Azura, and Mephala, recognized the divinity of the triune ancestors, blessed be their holy names. The rebel Daedra, Molag Bal, Malakath, Sheogorath, and Mehrunes Dagon, refused to swear fealty to the Tribunal, blessed be their holy names, and their worshippers were cast out. These rebel Daedra thus became the four corners of the House of Troubles, and they continue to plague our tranquility and tempt the unwary into heresy and dark worship. The priests of the temple remain ever vigilant for signs of the adversary's return, sometimes aided by the loyal three good Daedra, who are familiar with the wiles of their rebellious kin. The good Daedra are known to the temple as the Anticipations, since they are the early ancestral anticipations of the loving patronage of the tribunal. The Anticipations are the Daedra lords Boethia, Mephala, and Azura. Boethia is the anticipation of Almalexia, but male to her female. Boethia was the ancestor who illuminated the elves ages ago before the mythic era. He told them the truth of Lorkhan's test, defeated Oriel's champion Trinimac. Boethia ate Trinimac and voided him. The followers of Boethia and Trinimac rubbed the soil of Trinimac upon themselves and changed their skins. Mephala is the anticipation of Vivec, but manifold and androgynous. Mephala taught the Chimer to evade their enemies or kill them with secret murder. Enemies were numerous in those days, since the Chimer were a small tribe with enemies on all sides. Mephala organized the clan systems that eventually became the Great Houses. Later, Mephala created the Morag Tong. Azura is the anticipation of Sotha-Sil, but female to his male. Azura was the ancestor who taught the Chimer how to be different from the Altmer. Her teachings are sometimes attributed to Boethia. In the stories, Azura is often encountered more as a communal progenitor of the race as a whole, rather than as an individual ancestor. She is associated with dusk and dawn, and is sometimes called the Mother Soul. Azura's star, also called the Twilight Star, appears briefly at dawn and dusk low on the horizon, below the constellation of the Steed. Azura is associated with mystery and magic, fate and prophecy.
The Apprentice's Assistant by Aramil. Advice from Valenwood's most prestigious spellcaster. No doubt you have heard tales of my adventures. Stories carried from province to province, all of Tamriel and all of my feats of magical prowess. More than once, I am sure, you have thought, if only I had Aramil's ability, then I too could seek fame and fortune in magic duels. It is true, of course. Great fame and limitless fortune await those who are successful. But to be successful, one needs to learn from the best. That is why you have purchased this book, so that I may teach you. I am, of course, the best. Here, then, is my advice. Follow it, and you too can make a name for yourself throughout Tamriel. 1. To know your opponent is to know his weakness. Infinitely more versatile than a single blade of steel, a good mage has a wide array of spells at her disposal. More than that, she knows when to best use them. She knows that frost spells can stop a charging beast, or keep a savage brute from swinging his sword. She knows that shock spells can drain her opponent's magicka. She knows that illusion spells can set a group of enemies against each other should she find herself in a less than fair fight, an all too common reality when her opponents know they cannot win in single combat, and that there are spells that can save her in a moment when all seems lost. 2. To know yourself is to know your limit. Even the best mage has a finite reserve of magicka. None born yet have been graced with Magnus's infinite reserves of power. And so, good mage does not overextend herself. She makes sure she always has enough magicka to keep herself safe. Failing that, she makes sure she has a sizable supply of potions at the ready. Failing that, she makes sure she always has an escape route. Not that the great Aramil has ever fled a fight, but of course you do not necessarily share her superb natural ability. That is why you must practice. 3. Wards can kill you. There is no question that wards are an essential tool of any aspiring mage. They can block incoming spells, negating your opponent's attack and wasting his magicka. A good mage knows, however, to not rely too heavily on her ward. Keeping a ward readied for too long will leave a caster drained of magicka, unable to retaliate, and at worst unable to maintain the ward, and therefore completely defenseless. 4. Two hands are not always better than one. Any advanced spellcaster has learned to cast spells with both hands, dealing more damage. There are certainly times when this is to your advantage, such as when an opponent is already weakened, or when it is likely to draw a bigger reaction from the crowd that has no doubt gathered to watch you. It is not always the best strategy, however. Concentration spells, for example, can often be used on the ground when an opponent is especially nimble. In that instance, using both hands independently can cover more ground at the same time. A mage throwing fireballs with both hands cannot immediately raise a ward to defend herself, or heal while she continues to attack. 5. Always rise to a challenge, especially when you know you can win. Remember that your first priority is, of course, to stay alive. Following closely behind, though, is your need to please the crowd. You are, after all, depending on their generosity to fund your adventures. Here, then, more than magic comes into play. If you can gain a sense of your opponent's ability before the duel begins, you can enter into the event with confidence. Knowing that you outclass your opponent is of great importance, as it means you can confidently give the crowd a better show. Likewise, knowing ahead of time that you could very well lose a duel, you are afforded an opportunity to suddenly find yourself engaged elsewhere and be unable to attend an event. By no means do I suggest that I've ever done such a thing. I simply find that my great fame occasionally means I am unable to respond to every single request for a duel. Keep these few things in mind, and keep your wits about you, and you too can make a name for yourself by putting on great displays of magical prowess. Take care though, for if you become successful enough, you may find yourself facing a challenge from me.